Zoran and Friends. Let's step back and see the major characters in the story. We know about Zoran. Zoran was the major reason why some of the dragons left with him. Zoran didn't have a choice. He was booted out. That was the first time in history that a dragon got booted out. There were little Johnny and Ricky. They both left with Zoran and never turned back. They were both highly involved and full of wisdom. They mostly kept to themselves. To be honest, they had a hard time relating to the dragon culture. At times, they felt they were strangers in a strange land. They were both born twins. Both of them knew that they came from the stars. They loved to fly at night together and gaze at the stars. They especially loved to stare at the Pleiades and Orion constellation. Somehow, they felt a deep connection to the seven sisters. They both knew that the Pleiades went through major shifts millions of years ago. They started out like the dragons with anger, war, and greed. It took over 1 million years for the civilization to transform. When they did, they became as the civilization one with the stars. No words can describe that. Barbara was another incredible dragon. She was also very pure. Her mind was extremely developed. She would be considered a genius today. She thought outside of the box. Many other dragons thought she was a stranger. She didn't belong in the dragon world. She had a heart of gold. Barbara was beautiful. She was golden. If you had eyes to see, you would see light shining from within. Only a few dragons could see her true nature and rays of light. Most of the dragons didn't have eyes to see. Barbara was a trailblazer. She saw trails that were never walked on before. There was another trailblazer, Makara. Makara was a female dragon. She was highly developed and psychic. Yet she had her tremendous love and compassion. You see, not all dragons were mean, but she was a misfit. Dragons couldn't understand her. One of the dark will never understand the light. Makar and Barbara were best of friends. They talked about the time they created light grid systems millions of years before the universe even got created. Einstein would have loved them. Of course, the rest of the dragon community couldn't relate to them. Both of them would have been considered nerds today. Their knowledge and wisdom level was 1,000 times more than a person with a PhD today. Kathy was another female dragon. She was quite colorful. She had colors of pink, orange, and red. She was extremely funny. She also knew how to put wood on the fire. She was like a rebel today. She was definitely non-conforming to the dragon world. An interesting fact while living in Hawaii, my wife and I met Kathy. She had dragon tattoos all over her body. She also told my wife in a conversation that she came from the dragon world. Her husband drove a Charlie motorcycle. Our society would say she was a rebel. She also had a heart of gold. Shay was a male dragon. Little Ricky and Makar were his friends. Shay served in the warring factions of the dragons. He was quite fierce. You definitely didn't want to face him in battle. Despite this, Shay had yearning for the unknown. He was one of the first to learn how to meditate from Zoran. He couldn't tell anyone. Nobody back then even knew what meditation was. If it was different and not the norm, the best idea was to shut up and not say a thing. Some things never change. Shay was another dragon who yearned for the stars. Both Zoran and Shay loved to fly at night and gaze at the stars. Both of them knew that they came from the stars. They knew they were stardust. It was quite odd, but both of them had an affinity for the blazes. At this time, hardly any dragons would look to the stars. They were too busy working and fighting for gold. David was another inquisitive dragon. He had a highly developed spiritual and scientific mind. He was highly evolved for a dragon. He somehow knew about the laws of the universe. It became second nature to him. He had visions of creating pyramids long before his time. He was developing a new system of medicine thousands of years before helping man discover it. You see, David helped in bringing Tai Chi, Qigong, the healing arts, and acupuncture. He invented moxa. If the dragons got injured in battle, he would put herbs on the wounds and light them on fire using his fiery breath. Thousands of years later, he would introduce these healing systems to man. Hanali was another female dragon. She and little Johnny became great friends. Later in life, they even became mates. There was a famous folk song in the city in the 60s that talked about Puff the Magic Dragon. They mentioned in the land of Hanali. Hanali became a famous dragon and was well known throughout the land. Two other dragons came along in this incredible community, Aaliyah and Leilani. They were both stepsisters. Aaliyah, of God, had a heart of gold. She stood up for others and stopped the bullying when she saw it. She called a spade. She wouldn't allow it. Of course, the boy dragons were shocked. This beautiful young female dragon spoke with so much force and authority, the boys stopped in their tracks and sheepishly walked away. Over time, the boys stopped their bullying. The lessons were learned. Aaliyah became a great teacher for both the dragons and man. She lived for thousands of years. Aaliyah enlightened at quite a young age. She is still known throughout China and Tibet, yet she is known by another name. Leilani was just 4 years older than Aaliyah. She had the same kind nature. She also stood up for the less unfortunate. She believed in the unity of dragons. She knew that anger, war, and greed was tearing the dragon world apart. At a young age, she also yearned for the stars. She knew she was stardust. She knew that the universe existed inside. At the point in time, she couldn't prove it, but she had the intuition. Leilani also became famous throughout China and Tibet. Her name means heavenly flower.